And then we'll go online and read walnuts and poisonous to cats.
Hey, Anne.
Hey, how are you?
I am good. I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing okay. Zoom keeps changing stuff though, so I'm like, what did they do this time? So how are you? Did you get your grant application in?
Yes. Yeah, got it in. I got the grant application in, was able to get the, oops, hold on, Anne, sorry.
Sorry, Ann.
I'm being booted out.
She has 3 offices, so.
Mm. Okay, hold on here. And yeah, things went okay. But I'm gonna have to ask, I'm gonna have to figure out. Okay. Guys, sweetie, Neil, I need you to be quiet for the next hour. Thank you.
And then we need to have a talk about your use of the stove again.
Oh, we've got a busy household right now.
Yeah, what's happening?
We've got a friend here and more friends on the way this week. But it all just seems to.
Happen at once.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm heading to Toronto in a week's time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, which is good, but it means that there's a heck of a lot that needs to be done before then.
How long are you in Toronto?
2 weeks. 2 weeks. And here we go. Okay, Anne, sorry. I'm gonna have to. Hey, Kate.
Howdy, howdy. And Tracy said she would be here, but likely late. So
I've just been kerfuffling around, so I've just made the first part of the Zoom call very noisy.
so anyway, Susan, you were saying you're going to Toronto for a couple of weeks?
Yes, yeah. I'll be going next week, going for Thanksgiving. First visit with family in 2 years. So
Wow.
I'm really looking forward to that. It's good. Yeah, I've been hesitant about the plane, and everybody that's been on plane says it's not pleasant, but it's just fine. It's just kind of with
Now, do you guys get to get boosters?
Not yet. Mm-mm. No, it's in discussion around the it's for some immunocompromised people and older people of a certain age, but I don't think any of us would qualify or will qualify for quite a while.
Okay. And Miss Kate, where have you been?
Where have I been? I was in Toronto or in Ontario in the summer for a while. So that would have been that August call, I think.
Right.
Yeah. Just doing family stuff, seeing my mom for the first time in a year and getting reconnected. So now I'm home. I have my office back. Oh yes, and I was dropping James off at Western University in London. So I get my office back and we're down to a household of 3. So there it is.
Wow.
Was that is this his first year or second year at Western?
His first year.
Oh, wow, that must have felt quite
Because-
strange.
Gap, because he took a gap year last year. So he
Mhm.
graduated like 2 years ago. Well, 2 years ago, but just started. Yeah, it is strange. And I think it's still been weird getting up and running at the universities. He's in residence in a
Mhm.
single room, and they've all been double vaxxed. And he's been, and they're all, I don't know what and he was tested when he went into residence, but I don't know if they're wearing masks in class and stuff. I don't know what the university campus looks like.
Hmm. And when did you drop him off? Just a week ago?
2 week, like Labor Day-ish, Labor Day. The
Who's
6th,
Labor Day?
oh, the same Labor Day, I think. don't we?
I don't know, because we got different Thanksgivings. I mean, you said you're going for Thanksgiving. I'm going,
No,
Oh,
I
yeah,
don't
right.
think we can go for Thanksgiving now. Gosh, travel's impossible, Susan. Like it's impossible. So you can't rent cars, hey? There are no car rentals, so we can't go for Thanksgiving because we can't
You can't get anywhere.
get a car.
right. Well,
Yeah.
that's because the car rental place is all offloaded and
Yeah, now they have nothing.
now there's a chip shortage.
Yeah.
Which makes you wonder, where did all the chips go? Because those cars existed before.
Well, I suspect that they had a manufacturing shutdown and they haven't been able to get back up to speed fast
Well,
enough.
no, but the car rental agencies offloaded all their fleets,
Right,
right?
yeah.
Where did those cars go?
They got
Oh, they
bought.
got sold to,
There's used cars.
people like you and me who buy used.
Well, they
Cars.
should
Unless
go buy them back.
yeah, unless all those people become Uber drivers. We can't
Like,
get
Those
anywhere.
cars are still out there somewhere.
They are. They're just all privately owned, I guess.
They are all privately owned.
Yeah. Anyway,
Huh.
and yeah, I was looking at my list of like long-term plans, and Thanksgiving in New York City was one of them. Also not gonna happen since I'm not allowed in the country. So
You're still on the list?
yeah,
Is that right? I thought.
well,
we
I have
crazy.
What, did we open it up for about a week and then shut it down again? Is that what?
No, we can fly in.
But
I
we
think
can't
we can
drive.
fly in, but we can't drive. It's just, it's the border crossings that are,
because I have a mixed, I think is it because I have a mixed vaccine? And not only that, I have AstraZeneca as one of my vaccines. So,
okay.
so I'm not allowed in the States. I don't,
That's not one of the ones that the US recognizes.
right.
Seriously?
Oh, shoot.
That can't continue for very long, can it?
Cause that's all of Europe.
Because that's where
CDC
most of the
hasn't-
world is vaccinated.
Yeah, but we've got Johnson & Johnson, Moderna, and Pfizer.
Pfizer.
The US hasn't approved AstraZeneca.
Right. Okay, one moment, please. The dog has just emerged and is gonna get unemerged. Come on, Gracie. Come on, go, 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 go.
So I expect that'll change. I
hope
wonder
so.
because I can't imagine the US will say like no Canadians, no Brits. Who else had AstraZeneca? Like there's a few countries that
Yeah,
I
it's
thought
a little
there were a
crazy.
lot of countries that had AstraZeneca.
a lot.
France.
And I can't see unless, so either the US changes.
Well, and
its
what's amazing
mind.
to me is you all will let us in, but we won't let you in.
Yeah,
Right.
I'm waiting for your countries to just be like, screw you.
we tried that all summer. We were like, all last year we were screw you.
Right.
Been a year and a half.
Everybody
It's been a long,
complained
long time.
that
But
open
now it's come on in.
now it's come on in, but we can't go back. So that's why I'm wondering if we end up getting boosters, because otherwise like a whole bunch of Canadians can't travel anywhere.
Well, I'm double
like all of
vaxxed
them.
with AstraZeneca, so I guess I'm totally, so it's the same, I've got the same vaccine. But if it's not
Oh.
recognized by the US, that makes it really interesting.
Yeah.
Damn, I've still got parcels at a ranch just south of the border in Montana. It's been waiting for him. I've got 2 things waiting for me.
Well, you have to hire someone to bring them across.
Throw them across the border.
Yeah, just
Hurl
literally,
them.
that's all we need. Just
And-
drive up to the Canadian border crossing. That's all I need.
Just
I'll
throw
pay the
over.
duty. I'll pay the duty.
Yeah.
Huh. And so, Ms. Engel, since we last met, when you and I met, methinks you have been across the pond.
I have
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, your
Scotland.
pictures.
spent 10
Scotland.
days in Scotland. I was like top 3 vacation of all time. It was the first 2-week vacation, I think, in my professional career. And I didn't get interrupted, not once.
That's not true.
2 straight weeks.
That's not true.
Why do you say that?
Well, because I was on a trip with her in
But I don't-
2000.
But I don't think that trip was 2 weeks. We left the day after Thanksgiving and we were back like a week later.
Really?
Yeah.
Was it that soon that whatever.
Just
Never
felt like
mind, move on. No,
But
it
we were
wasn't.
gone about a week. We were gone.
I
about a
thought it was longer. I thought it was only, whatever.
Anyway,
That was a misadventure.
your trip looked amazing.
it was
So great.
spectacular.
Even with
I
the,
loved
even
even
with
with the
even with
group.
the food. Yeah. And then
We just- it
another
just
old
changed, right?
church.
Instead of hiking, we ended up doing like all these little driving scavenger hunts and picnics by the side of the road, and yeah, it was super.
great.
Okay, so Ann has dropped a cap on the floor and it's gone.
Dog will find it.
No, Bella won't find it. In the meantime, I will tip over the bottle. God help us.
That's all right. I accidentally just notarized the back of a check instead of stamping my bank endorsement stamp on.
Whoa, now what?
Just put it underneath. It'll be fine.
Well, you can't do that one online.
No, I can't do it online anyway.
No. Hey, Bella, find the cap to the bottle, will you please? Wake up. Useless. It's not happening.
Mm.
So what's going on, business-wise, you lollygaggers? What's going on? Huh? Let's start with some wins. Okay, let's move on.
Okay, I've got a win.
Thank you.
We've had a really good summer and right through, even with cancellations, because of, again, more travel restrictions, people backing out at the last minute. Often we're getting last minute bookings. Like we had a couple from Vancouver call out of the blue, fly into Regina, rent a car and come for 3 days and then fly home again. Like literally, it's crazy, but it's great.
It's crazy good.
Yeah, it's really helpful. And training my 2 young staff, housekeeping staff was interesting, but boy, one of them is a total, just amazing. And she went from housekeeping to helping me plant 216 trees and shrubs.
Wow.
And not just planting, but digging out trenches and putting straw mulch around. And the process was just insane. So, and she wants to come back next year, which is even better.
Great.
Oh, so
So-
she's done for this. That was a summer thing.
Yeah. And she did get me a second person who was able to help me through September. Not quite the same go-getter, but lovely young woman, and will and willing to learn. So it's great. She actually reminds me of me way back when. So Neil rolls his eyes and says, "You're being too kind."
So,
Boy.
so she's through September, which is what, Thursday?
Yeah.
Then what?
Yeah. Then we're winding down. I'll be away. So we've closed out, or we've accepted a few reservations while I'm away. But it's much slower. We're now slowing down in October. I'm sure we could have been much busier if I'd been here and Neil was up to taking a lot more reservations, but he's still accepted quite a few. So, but November we have a number pending, but who knows? Winter, like this year has been really good, as much because there was a lot of contract work going on last January, February. So we lucked out. I have no idea what's going to happen this year.
You contract work in the area, you mean?
Yeah. So we had surveyors and engineers, and there's we're pretty picky as to who will take in, but boy, did it ever help.
And
Bring that bottom line.
how, and you put in a grant for a new business. I don't know if you want to talk about that. Or you,
Yeah.
like you did before.
Well, so what we've done, I actually I've applied for $93,000 in matching funds to allow us to turn our new building into the event retreat center that I really want it to be. And in the process, it's matching funds. So the whole process of being eligible meant that I had to form a corporation. So I had to identify, I had to invest in some very expensive tax advice, but went ahead and formed a new corporation that has allowed us, the whole process of applying for this grant really helped me nail down what it is that I wanted to be doing here, what we can afford to do and what we can't afford to do.
That process
That was
is
a biggie.
so valuable.
Yeah. So in identifying the $92,832 whatever, I had to really nail down. So which company is going to pay for our 50% of this, and
Right.
it
So
was,
what is the
it was good.
timeline for getting an answer?
I don't know. I'm ready to call again. It's been a few weeks, so I'm ready to call before I head to Toronto to see what the status is. I was worried that my process to get it together was taking too long, because I was warned that once September came around, they were just expecting all the big guns to come in with their applications, and all the money would just dry up. But luckily that didn't happen, whether it was because of the election here or not, or other funding opportunities.
So it was a rolling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a roll. I was basically, so there wasn't a deadline, but I was essentially told that if I didn't have it in by the first week, end of August or the first week of September, I would probably be out of luck. And my process took me into the second week of September just to really figure out what it was I was asking for and building the case for it. And luckily they were not swamped with applications. So I know that I'm in the queue. I'm ready to now call and say, so hi. Is there any information that you'd like me to provide? Is there any additional information
When
you'd like
can
to
I
have
expect
from
my
me?
first check? So if it's matching, you have to put, do the outlay and then they,
Yeah, it's literally receipt by receipt by receipt.
so it's not, it's reimbursement. It's not necessarily,
Yes.
it's not matching, so it's, yeah, okay,
Yeah.
got it.
Uh,
Well, great, that's fantastic.
So
That's
we'll
exciting.
see. So fingers crossed, and if it doesn't come through, or if it comes through in a portion, then it gives us a sense of, okay.
But
what-
even
what
if
can
it
we move
doesn't come
forward with?
through, you've already won because you've been forced to sit down and
Yeah,
Make the
and
plan.
really nail down what in the, bloody blue blazes you're doing.
exactly. Yep, exactly. And Neil was in a lot of 9-foot trenches, and we now have 4-season water into all 3 buildings, into the new building, into not just 4-season water, but filtered water from our well, which is
Wow.
a huge win.
So does that mean you
Um,
can sell the car, the garage, the?
I sure hope so, but Neil's not saying yes. He's not willing to hook it up yet. He's not willing to.
Oh,
get
so it's
there.
ready, but it's not hooked up yet.
Uh-huh, yeah. But
That's like
maybe
building
maybe in a month.
What's the
track,
hesitation there?
It's like building the train track, but you don't want to turn those lights on. So we're not going to use the train tracks yet. What's up with that?
Yeah, what's up with
I
that?
think just it's saturation, absolute saturation, and not wanting
So what
to
is,
even think about the complexity.
what's
I feel like if it's
What
all
will it
hooked up, the
take to
complexity
actually
is
connect?
done. What's left?
Well, it's so part of it is that it's going into a new building that does not have that, where there won't be a bathroom there for a while. There won't. So because the water is drained, there's nothing in the system, it's fine for winter. As soon as you hook it up, you go through the house, hook it up here and an endpoint, then you're having to worry about winterization at either end. And
So is the thought that we're not going to hook it up until the spring?
Mhm,
Because otherwise you just have to winterize it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, that makes like this much sense to me, but okay. Because to
I'm
me,
not
as
the
soon
one
as,
doing it.
well,
I'm
no,
not the
but
one
to me,
doing
as
it.
soon as you hook it
Yeah.
up, you can put the for sale sign on that car wash.
Yeah.
But that's just my thinking.
Mhm. Yeah. Which would
But it
be
sounds
awesome.
like generally things are going great in many, many respects.
Yeah, yeah, we've been working flat out. We're both exhausted.
And the website is
in process,
it's still in process. Okay.
Yeah, it's so yeah, I do have questions for later on, but I think
Okay.
that's where I'm at.
All right. Well, that's a lot.
Mm.
So would we like to go alphabetically by location, by name? Would someone like to raise their hand? Do
Go for
either
it,
of you
Kate.
have pets?
My celebration is that I survived the summer, got through it, emotionally and physically intact for the most part. It was slow. I always go to the cottage and try and keep working, and then it's always harder than I think it's going to be. And so
So why do you try to keep working?
because I'm gone a really long time. Like this time I was sort of gone, it's usually around 4 weeks, and it feels like I don't need that much vacation, and that I don't want to leave my business for 4 weeks straight. And I gotta, it'd be nice to figure out, anyway, it'd be nice to
So do
figure.
you try and keep it going from the beginning? Or do you say, I'm gonna take a break and then 2 weeks in, I'm gonna step back into some work?
No, this time I tried to keep it going right from the beginning. Last summer, I took official 2 weeks off, but this.
And which worked better?
I think taking actual holiday, taking actual vacation.
That's my suspicion, just
Yeah.
sort of generally speaking.
Yeah. I mean, I admit, like, I do like dipping in because I'm keeping my eyes on things, and my overall stress level is kind of more regulated than, you know what it's like before you go on vacation. You just end up working twice as hard to get everything set, and then you have to say no to people, and you have to explain you're on vacation, and then you come back and you're behind and you have to catch up. And like, sometimes I just figure, just take work with me, and then I don't have to go through any of that. But then you're right, then you don't ever.
Right. And then
And-
you're gazing at the lake going,
And it's not even. I
what's
don't
that
even
client's name?
It's the work that's not on my own terms. Like if work would just go according to plan, and I could get up and do my 3 hours and then go swimming, but it's all the other stuff that people come at me with. Anyway, I survived. I didn't bill very much, so I updated so another celebration is that I've dedicated my financial Fridays. I've booked a few hours every Friday, financial
I like it.
Friday, to just stay, like, to get the money work done, to fill out my cash flow statement, to pay bills, to invoice, to just check in on the financials at least every week for a while, until I feel like, so I mean, my revenues are way low, but October's looking good, so I might be able to bounce.
Well,
back.
and you were on vacation.
And-
I mean,
and was on-
I constantly, okay, I don't know however often I do it. Clients say, yeah, but this month was terrible. And you were on vacation?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
dropping my kid off.
And it's always terrible at this time of year. Okay,
Yeah.
well, all righty then.
That's what I want to keep an eye on. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so on the other hand, it's like, well, that's super that you take vacation that month then.
Yeah.
Because if revenue's down anyway, what an opportune time to
Yeah. And
to
instead
take
of
the time
worrying
off.
about business never coming back again ever, just take the damn month off. So
Right, and come back fresh.
yeah, so I think that's my plan for sort of next summer.
So you just have to remember that.
Exactly. And now that I have a nice cash flow, like, numbers and a chart, and I can prepare for that. And I'm gonna run sort of next year on the, like we talked about, Anne, on the sort of what's enough, rather than like grow, figure out what's
Right.
enough to have in the bank at the end of the year. And then get to that point, like, take after paying fixed expenses and RSPs
Right.
and taxes, what do I want left? And if that is left, then good enough.
Right,
'Cause
good
otherwise,
enough to
numbers
quote
never-
somebody we both used to know.
Yeah, the number is never high.
And if you exceed it, fantastic.
Yeah. And if I'm getting close to it and it's not quite there, then I can turn the dial up a notch.
Right,
Yeah.
that's super.
So I want enough to be enough.
Right. Well, and we've calculated back to what is enough,
Yeah, exactly.
right? Versus,
Exactly.
well, everybody wants to hit this number, so therefore I must want to hit this number.
Exactly.
Like, whatever.
How did you go about figuring out what is enough?
We
So
threw,
Well,
we
for
threw
me,
Jello at the wall.
what's that? No, for me, Susan, it was like Anne and I just went through that. She just asked me a whole bunch of questions. And
Right.
honestly, it was like, I want like $10,000 to $15,000 in the bank at the end of the year whenever, that I just get to spend on whatever. So that's after taxes and RSPs and expenses. Like, that's just my number. That's just like, wow, that'd be a nice trip, or that'd be that would be,
Right.
yeah, it was basically, that would be a nice trip, and, maybe some commercial retail therapy.
And so basically it's reverse engineering, right?
Yeah, so we
What
started-
do I want in the bucket at the end?
that's what it was.
And therefore, what needs to come in at the top?
So the
And
task,
I know this because this costs this costs that, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right? It's arithmetic. I don't even want to call it math,
yeah, and it was the tax.
but it's thinking it's through, Susan. It's more
Mm.
Yeah,
walking through,
Yeah.
okay,
yeah, so it was after everything is said and done, including like putting back into my business, like subscriptions and a
Right.
course, and
It-
at the very, 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 very end,
Mhm.
here's my bonus check. Here, Kate, here's your bonus check for this year is $12,000.
it really goes back to the break-even calculation that we did back,
Mhm. Yeah.
back in prehistoric times, and figured out, okay, at what point do I start making profit? And then essentially plugging in the profit I want to make. Right? So Kate said, I want to go on a $15,000 shopping spree at the end of the year or whatever. And so I'm adding
Kate's
15,000.
getting Prada.
But does that make sense? It's basically, it really is kind of fundamentally adjusting the break even to include the
Yeah.
desired profit.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. That does make sense. It's it's going then into, okay, the desired profit. How much of our cost of living do I want to have paid for by this company, essentially? More than cost,
Well,
and in
that's
this
a
case, more
kind of
than.
philosophical question.
Yeah, I mean, my number just came, I just picked it.
Mhm.
But
And-
that's where you start, right? You pick a number, you start there, and then later on you can tweak it if it's
Right.
Mhm.
If I wanted a Porsche at the end of the year, I would need more than that.
No, that's a
You know,
good down
like-
payment. You just then next year have to plan for the payments. That's all.
It just depends whether
And
it's
it
the match.
becomes not enough to work.
It just depends whether it's the Matchbox version or the one with the real engine. So, Tracy,
If I had a killer vacation,
okay,
which so I was gone the last 2 weeks of August. So the last 2 weeks before our Labor Day. And apparently my legal assistant said, yeah, it was like super crickets the whole time you were gone. So I'm kind of feeling like that's a really good time for me to vacation every year, because it is, for us, it's like back to school week. So like nobody's got the work that I do on their radar. Nobody wants meetings.
Right.
Nobody's picking up the phone. So it's a good time for me to vacation. And I broke my streak on doing my billing and bookkeeping because it didn't happen at the beginning of September. So, but it will happen on Friday. So consequently, I also don't know where I am because I didn't put everything into my cash flow for August. So I don't know where I'm on track, but I had predicted August would be a train wreck from an income standpoint, and I was correct. But this
and does
month-
does that mirror past years?
I don't know. I'd have to look.
Right, I mean, that's a really, really useful thing to look at, is if you go back and just run a P&L by month for past
Well,
years, you can see right away, oh, revenue, bit the dust, but crashes every summer. If it does, right? You can see the cyclicality pretty easily, pretty quickly.
Yeah, it's hard to pull out, like just show me August of every year.
No, I would, that's not how
Doesn't-
I would do it.
Do that well.
I wouldn't do that. I would run me a P&L for 2020 by month. Run me a P&L for 2019 by
Okay, I
month.
was doing all dates by month and there's like 19 years of data in here.
Oh, yeah, no, I would do it individual years, because that's kind of crazy.
Right?
Yeah. And you know, you don't have to do more than probably 2 or 3 years, or randomly pick one from a long time ago if you want to, but I would say the trend probably 2 or 3 years, and you can look at it and say, oh, well, wait a second, in 2018, my building lit on fire in August, and so that explains why there was no business, you know. So if there are unusual circumstances that,
Yeah. So it's I'm looking at them right now and there's a lull in there somewhere. And I think sometimes it doesn't show up until September, because it just depends on if we're still doing a lot of residual work in early August and we're getting paid for it. And then I think the thing though is that the phones get really quiet at the end of August. So that can
Right.
reflect itself in August, September, or even October. So, but September's been gangbusters. So
Yeah.
making up for August. And I put it in the category of like, I did this whole cash flow projection in the spreadsheet, and I find it amusing that sometimes goals accomplish themselves once you write them down.
well,
Yeah.
and the other thing that you've done in the fairly recent past is changed how you collect your revenue.
A little, but not dramatically.
Except it's more yeah.
Definitely it's definitely automated, so it's far more consistent that we would get 50% up front and the other 50% 30 days later.
But it's
It
not
used to be-
necessarily bookkeeped for a while, or is it?
It is now.
Okay.
It wasn't necessarily before. It's been bookkeeped accurately for the last handful of years.
I don't think that's a verb, by the way, but
Yeah. But it's been tracked accurately for at least the last 8-10 years, I would think. I could find it somewhere in the P&L. There's like a $3 million revenue number, like on December 31st or something. And it's like, okay, that's the year we corrected everything.
Right.
Yeah. So there's like the numbers are, the bottom line is accurate, but the top line is like super wonky. It's like, what the hell happened? Right. That was
Right,
the
but
year they
then
cleaned up all the
it's harder
bookkeeping.
to look by month because
Mhm.
it wasn't tracked by hand. So
So it'll
But
be
good.
fun
So
to
what's
do
coming
that
up
on
in
Friday.
October?
What's coming up in October is just like nose to the grindstone working. I've got new Medicaid application that just came in. So Wendy, my assistant's really psyched to really take the lead on that and start developing into the person that drives those projects.
And
So
that's your highest.
Yeah. That's the check that I just stamped with my notary stamp by accident instead of my.
Oops.
So we've got that to work on. I've got like, I don't know, 6 discovery sessions over the next few weeks. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 discovery sessions over the next 2 weeks. So
Nice.
we'll be busy in October and November.
And your conversion rate's pretty high, right?
It's not as high as it used to be because the quality of the referrals we are getting in is very different. So I think we convert about 50% of anybody who calls the office. So we track, if they call the office, even if it ends up being something we can't help them with, we track that in our pipeline. So consequently, our numbers look lower. But I think
Oh,
it's
because you're tracking a bigger population.
we're tracking a bigger population. And we're also getting a lot of referrals like through Facebook. Oh, I was in the Hudson Moms group and I asked people like, who do you know who can write our wills? And that's how we found you. And we don't have, it's one of the things that I want to work on is really increasing that nurture sequence before I get on the phone with them so that they'll either self-select themselves out and at least not waste my time, or by the time we're getting on the phone, they're ready to buy.
Got it.
Because when all of my business has been generated by referral, people call me ready to buy, not
Right.
I need to talk to you because I need a will and I don't even know really what that means.
Right.
So there's a couple of things that we need to tackle in that area.
Well, good. Always good to have
That's
things.
an interesting question though, in terms of so where do you start tackling that question?
So, I mean, there's a few things that we'll do. One, we will go back to implementing, I used to charge for a discovery session, and we stopped doing that when COVID happened as sort of a, mitzvah to the world kind of a thing. And we need to get back to it. That's one way that people will select themselves out. A second thing that I need to be more mindful of is if people reach out to me directly, not engaging in conversation with them via email. And next thing you know, I'm like an hour and a half down some rabbit hole and, whatever. So making sure that they're in our onboarding process sooner. So being more disciplined about passing them over to my assistant. And then I think what we're going to do is have some kind of a short series of videos that will drip to folks. So once they say, yeah, we want to get on Tracy's calendar, we'll start a series of videos that they can watch, like, 5 minutes at a time, just to give them an idea of who we are, how we work, why the way we work is different and better and fabulous, and things they should be thinking about leading up to, because that will set the tone of the type of law business that we are. And people will either buy into, oh, this is great, this is exactly what I need for my family, or they will say to themselves, I just needed to get my will done. I don't know what the hell these crazy people are up to.
Right.
And they'll self-select themselves out. And because if that's their feeling, they're not the right clients for us.
Right. And you can spend an hour in a discovery session getting to that point. So get rid of them before that.
Right. And so that should have the effect of increasing our close rate percentage a little bit. It may not impact it too much, but it will at least free up my time, because now I'll be meeting with the people who I really should be meeting with.
Well, then freeing up your time is in effect money in the bank.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what's your thinking on the timeline to start dripping those out?
I don't know. I've got 3 competing priorities right now. One is documenting our Medicaid system, which I'm working with Wendy on. The second is documenting our administration system, which I'm going to be working with Wendy on. And then the third is getting back to paid discovery sessions with a better, a more robust nurture sequence.
Why do you need to wait? Why can't you turn on the paid discovery sessions right away? Because the nurture sequence wasn't there before, was it?
No, it wasn't. And I absolutely could. I just need to take an afternoon to figure out what that process is going to look like. or excuse me, what that process is going to look like. I should speak Canadian.
Hey, hey,
Um,
We can translate.
it
Because
said
it
with
was-
fondness.
it was different when I met with everybody in my office and the expectation was bring a check with you. And
No.
that's not the process right now. Now we're doing everything by Zoom. And I just need to take some time to figure out, do we take the credit card over the phone? I'd rather they have to affirmatively sign something. A lot of lawyers freak out about chargebacks. So they need to sign off on something that says that they are, even if they put their credit card number into my system, they can go back to to LawPay later and say, I never approved this charge. Even though they're the ones who put the card into the system, they have to like sign off on something that says they're authorizing the charge. So I just have to figure out, my inclination is to maybe switch from Schedule Once to Acuity scheduling or Calendly. Or I just need to work with Catherine around a series of links and just do it through Infusionsoft directly. I just need to figure out the system. But I don't want it to be that Wendy has to get the credit card number from them. I want
Oh, no, I agree
want
with
them
that.
to be doing it, but I think what it is Wendy talks to them and says like, okay, great, you know, blah, 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 this, that, we charge $497 for this. Do we schedule them and then send them the payment link and then or do they not even get on my calendar until they pay?
Yes. B.
Just think
But
if
can you,
if
you-
I were the client, I wouldn't be happy with that.
no, but instead of actually charging them, can you just put a hold on their credit card?
We could do that manually. We could charge $1 and then their credit card number would store in our system.
No, but I mean, as opposed to.
I don't know a way to put a hold on it without charging an amount to it. But I can ask.
Yeah, I don't
somebody.
really either, but.
There is a way, because.
Well, I know there must be a
There
way.
must be a
because-
way, because they do it for, like you must
Hotels do
for-
it all the time.
Yeah, they
yeah.
do it for rental cars and stuff like that. I don't know if it's a different. I'll have to ask my processor and see.
Mhm.
Because I would think that might be a way to do it.
Like I said, I know in my system, if we did it manually, we can charge $1 and then it's in our system. And then after the meeting, we can go back and charge. But you know, who wants to do all this?
But who wants to do all that,
Right.
right? I mean, I would think,
I would love to have a system where they're able to schedule, they put in their credit card number to hold it, but then the system doesn't charge it until I tick off some
Right.
box later. But then, of
That-
course, if the credit card gets declined, I don't know until after the fact. I doubt that's going to happen, and I'm not going to plan a system around the 1 in 100 times that might happen. So
right. Or you tick it off right as the session starts. But then does that defeat the purpose? Not really. Because if they're not going to become a client, then you're going to charge them, right?
most likely, sometimes I don't, if we get into the conversation and I kind of realize there's really nothing I can do to help them. I can't even give them value in this conversation. As long as
Okay,
I
but
can give them.
that's, I'm guessing, more of an exception.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if
As long as I can give them value in the conversation, I charge them.
right, and if you bring them on as a client, I'm guessing that goes against the fees.
Yep.
So. Yeah, I would look into how to put a hold on the, whatever the number is. And then tick it off right as the session starts.
Yeah.
You know, run it as you go into the session.
Okay.
That's,
Yeah.
Because Susan, when do you run the, so when somebody makes a reservation,
Mhm. I do it essentially 21 days ahead.
which is
And-
when your when your refund policy says, yeah, you're SOL, right?
Yeah, or depending on who it is or what discussions I've had, I may wait a week or if.
Right, but generally
come-
speaking, it's
Mhm.
around the time that the
Yeah.
refundability goes away.
Yes,
So how does their credit card number get into your system to start with?
they give it to me verbally.
Okay.
Yeah, but we're changing that with our new website. They will be making the bookings online.
Well, and for sure, every hotel in the world, like.
Oh
a
yeah, when you
Hilton-
check in, they swipe a card for incidentals.
Mhm.
Right,
Right.
Well, and
But they
even
put
when
a
you go-
hold, they put a
even when you
hold
go
on
and
an
make a
amount.
reservation online,
Mhm.
your card is not charged until you show up.
Yeah, so for,
So the
in
question
our
is, what's the
situation, so that's
technology
something
doing
I'm
there?
gonna have to figure out.
Yeah, I don't know what the technology is, but it clearly exists. I would ask Keith. Reardon, you still use him?
You talking to me?
Yes.
Keith who?
Talking to me? Oh, yeah,
Oh, Keith Reardon.
Yes.
Yes and no, not really. I use LawPay for most of my stuff now because it ties into Clio.
I bet he'd know the answer to the question anyway. So, all right, but you got a good stuff to look at and work on.
Yeah. And I've kind of put hiring anybody on hold until we get those systems documented.
And that kind of makes sense to me.
That makes a lot of sense.
I kind of came to the conclusion that the two options that sort of fell into my lap, neither one of them was like a hell yes, this is fantastic. So I just kind of decided to wait. Let's get the systems better documented. And then A, it's going to be easier for training. B, I'm going to be able to hire a paralegal, not an attorney, which is what makes the most sense right now.
I think that makes a lot of sense. Way to go. Congratulations.
Thank you.
It's not a small decision. So, Susan, you had said you had other questions. Are there other questions? As how else can we help each other here?
Yeah, it's not clear in my head. So I'm,
Excellent.
yeah.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
Yeah, a good night's sleep, that'd be good. I'd love a good night's sleep.
Yeah.
No, but I think what I'll do, Anne, is I'll book an appointment with you when I get back.
Okay.
In
And
Toronto.
remember, I've gone back to prehistoric times.
So we talk directly, yeah.
And so
Or by
Acuity-
email.
So just email me or text me. Acuity is no longer up and running for me.
Yeah,
But I'm pretty easily found. Unless I'm lost.
can I ask actually one basic question? How useful has it been for each of you guys, if you've even made the decision to get a credit card on against your business, as opposed to having a personal?
Oh,
credit card that you
1,000%
just-
useful.
1000%.
1,000%.
As
Why?
opposed to. what's the
Because
other
there's
one?
no commingling.
Yeah, there's no
It's
commingling.
like,
The bill every month. I can also have my assistant has her own card.
right,
So we don't, so for other people in the business that need to have spending power,
Mhm.
that exists. And I
Um,
get beaucoup hotel points.
well, yeah, or whatever points, but it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to commingle, period.
No, well, that I've learned much to.
Well, do you,
just headache
Susan,
after headache.
do you mean how important is it to have
it in
a
the name of the
business
business.
corporate card versus the card that's dedicated for the business.
Exactly.
I mean,
Well,
so in my experience, I don't think you need one. I only just got my first business card,
Okay.
but
I think when
Different.
it's in the name of the business, and I have one in the name of the business, and I guess I wouldn't swear to this, but it strikes me that the credit card companies go an extra step to help itemize and detail stuff in terms
Okay.
of categories of spending.
Okay.
Which may make the administrative part of bookkeeping easier.
A little bit more.
And
Okay.
how is
Oh,
that
that's an
going, dare I
interesting-
ask, or is it?
The bookkeeping? No, it's on.
I won't ask.
Thank you. First 6 months are in. Which is good.
That's
But-
good.
Yeah, no, it's been really challenging to balance all of the projects with the ongoing setting up the ongoing financial systems, because and keep up with the website build, then keep up with blah, blah, blah. So I have to admit, I've let it slide, and it's not to my benefit at all. It's frustrating. It's really frustrating.
I'm kind of not gonna argue with that.
Yeah. So I'm just putting it down. Okay. Whereas things are slowing down when I get back in towards the end of October, our reservations have slowed right down. And all of the outdoor projects will be done for the winter.
Well, then can you also do what Kate has done, which is a Financial Friday or a
Yeah.
website
Yeah.
Wednesday or a Taco
Yeah.
Tuesday?
And Tracy's Monday.
Right. Money Monday.
Money Monday.
Yeah,
I'm pretty good at
it's
keeping. I'm
unclear
really
that
good
anything
with the,
can be done on Thursday, but yeah, I don't know what goes with Thursday. But to be able to set aside a block of time on a regular
Yeah.
basis and just get
Yeah.
into a routine, right? It's the structure and routine
exactly.
that kind of,
Yeah, exactly. Whereas here it's anything that if the weather and the wind is decent, then I'm attending to stuff outside while I still can.
right,
And
I
then-
get that.
Yeah.
I
So,
get that and.
I know. It's yeah.
So-
Which is why having this call at the end of September is really just getting back on track and just thinking, okay, time to get back on track.
So this is a
But you-
good thing.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it is a good thing.
Okay. Well, how else can I help you on this fine Monday, Money Monday?
Me or everybody?
Everybody, this is open.
Susan, I thought you had a bunch of questions, you said.
She did, and then she got tired.
Pop out.
Sorry,
Pop
you're
out.
not off the hook.
It was a total
You're back
cop out.
on.
It was a total cop out. I was gonna let her off the hook, but Tracy has called your bluff.
I'm not in any shape to take in whatever. No, it's gonna
Okay.
wait. Sorry.
Recognizing that this is all being recorded and the NSA
Mhm.
is certainly listening as well.
We
Or
could say
maybe
some
that was
key
the last
phrases that would
administration.
absolutely perk their ears out.
What's that?
I said we could say some key phrases that will absolutely perk their ears out.
We could indeed. Money Monday didn't work. It probably isn't enough, is it? It's probably something to do with Thursday that would really trigger it. Well, if there's what do y'all have to say about pumpkin spice latte?
Oh, God. Although I'm probably gonna go get some candy corn, and that's about as polarizing as pumpkin spice. anyway.
Well, I had 2 gin and tonics last night and didn't sleep a wink, so that's my excuse. No more G&Ts for me.
Well, that had the wrong effect.
Mhm. Very yummy,
And I
very
think
yummy.
you will probably never see a pumpkin spice latte cross my lips, but candy corn, maybe.
I have a new service that we had talked about, like the blogging practice, the writing club.
Right. How's that going?
Well, it didn't go.
Okay. Oh, right. You offered it.
Wait,
Well,
what is this? I didn't hear about this.
No, you didn't hear about this because it didn't quite get launched. So I
That's a movie failure to launch, but go ahead.
Yeah, that's the movie of my business.
Sarah
So
Jessica Parker.
Susan and Tracy getting a small group together to write once a week, like timed write for 40 minutes, and then send me the draft so that I could review it and then polish the next week and then polish it so that every 2 weeks we're posting a blog post as a group or a LinkedIn article or whatever, some kind of longer, like your newsletter.
I'd be all over that. I haven't gotten around to writing anything since last April.
Okay.
Life's been crazy and it's.
Well, I can send you some information. It was going to be like quarter by quarter, like let's do 6 blog posts together and in, every 3 months. And then I got cold
For
feet.
me, if you tell me I can accomplish 6 blog posts in only 40 minutes a week, I'd be all over that.
Okay, well, I'm running, I decided to, I had some kind people say, anyway, I'm going to do it in October, just
Okay.
for 2 blog posts and see what happens. Because Tracy, same thing, like, I'm not sure we can do it in 40 minutes once a week and a certain amount of my time reviewing the post. So I got nervous about sort of committing to a whole quarter.
Yeah, you beta test it.
Yeah, exactly. So in October, I've got some folks who we're gonna try it. And I'll send you the stuff anyway, Tracy, and you can have a look at my pitch. So I'm just gonna try and beta test it for 1 month, for the month of October. And then, and then again in November if it works, and then again in December it works. And then we would be more comfortable signing people up for a quarter at a time.
Well,
The whole point is to build consistency.
I would help beta test that with you.
Okay. I'll send you the info because we were going to start, I have to check, I guess next week, but tomorrow I'm going to work through the timing and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, it just depends for me, it just depends on the day of the week.
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
Cool.
Anyway, so it didn't completely which normally I would just get overwhelmed and I would get afraid and then it would just never happen. And instead I got talked down off the ledge and into a pilot, a trying out position. So that'll be good.
Great. You might even want to pilot for 6 weeks instead of a month. I mean, a month is it's gone in a split second.
Yeah.
Oh, I know. The whole point is do we post every second Friday? That's the goal. Do we, what comes up that's the plan. So what gets in the way of the plan?
Cool.
Yeah.
Good. Well, that's a win. That's a win that it's moving forward.
Nifty.
It's inching forward. Slowly inching forward.
Movement.
I don't know, October is coming real darn quick.
Yeah.
Friday.
Friday.
Financial Friday. Yeah.
So our next session is on the It's like the 25th of October, I believe. Is that right? Yes, that must be right.
Yes.
So glad it's not actually on my wall calendar. Durr. Have a snorer on the floor. So reach out if there's anything going on. I will be away for 10 days in October, but mostly reachable because I usually am reachable.
What's happening for 10 days in October?
I am driving the youngster canine to North Carolina to spend a week on the Outer Banks and then spend a few days with a friend of mine in Raleigh, North
Nice.
Carolina.
Like the real Outer Banks, like the TV show?
The real one, yes. There was even some contemplation about going tuna fishing, but that's not going to happen. It's wicked expensive, wicked tuna.
I bet.
So does this mean that you have siblings stepping in?
Huh?
For the elder care?
Who's taking care of your
Mhm.
parents while you're away?
Oh, them. So there is one coming, I believe the day I'm leaving. I basically put it out there and said, I'm gone here. It would be really nice if there was some coverage. So one is coming, I think, for 3 or 4 days, the day I leave. No, must be more than that. When am I leaving? The 9th, and I think he's leaving, coming in on the 9th and leaving maybe on the, must be leaving on the 14th. So that's almost the whole thing. And then another one is coming in. There will be no coverage for a few days. And the next one I think is coming in the day that I drive back. But then he'll be here for, I don't know. I don't know how long he'll be here. So I won't, I will actually be coming back to also new flooring, which will mean that the place is a whole shit show for another week when I get back.
In your house, not in their house.
Because it's a hellhole right now as I try and empty a couple rooms so that it can be done whilst I'm away. COVID, blah, 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 blah.
Right.
Nobody home. Come in, do what you gotta do, ransack the place. I don't care. Just get the floors in. So. Yeah, looking forward to getting away for a few days.
Oh, that sounds really good.
Changes.
Wow.
Yeah, the bike ride that I did a weekend bike ride. I think, I forget now when, but between now and the last time we met. And that Saturday was the first day in over 2 years that I have not slept in my own bed.
Wow.
Wow.
Weird to think about that. When I used to be on a plane a few times a year at least, or driving somewhere. Yeah, over 2 years. Weird.
Yeah.
So anyway.
And
So-
Tracy, was your trip, were you in masks the whole time or was it pretty open? I can't remember from the pictures.
So
Did it feel like,
travel day is like mask the whole time.
yeah,
Which doing the overnight flight, that like really super sucked because it's like, 18 hours in a mask. But I mean, what is that compared to first responders and nurses, ER nurses and doctors and whatnot?
yeah,
Once we were like in the UK, in Scotland, then it was really just like indoors.
yeah,
You put masks on, and there were definitely little pockets and factions, very much like what we see around here. So there was one bar that we went to in particular, like kind of ended our night at this place 5 or 6 times. People literally, like, they would walk in wearing their mask, which I was so confused by because you didn't need it outside.
yeah.
But as soon as they hit the door, the mask was gone and nobody was wearing masks inside the bar.
So they were seen to enter the bar with
Yeah,
a mask
yeah.
on and.
And staff wore masks. The staff that worked at the restaurants wore masks.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, it was just the whole attitude toward rules and regulations over there is just so different than what I'm used to experiencing. So the mask thing aside, their alcohol laws are super strict. Everything is measured, even like pours of wine and beer and everything is measured. And a double is like 1.6, 1.7 ounces of liquor. And that's a double, and they won't serve you more than a double at any given
Oh, okay.
cocktail. And it's all, the pricing is all very strict. And so we were asking them about it because they measure everything to within a gnat's ass, and there's no overpouring. And I'm like, yeah, it's really interesting because in the US, you know, people overpour all the time. And it's like how you're like, oh, I really like you, patron. I'm going to give you a little extra quarter, half ounce. They're like, oh my God, wouldn't you be afraid of getting in trouble? And I'm like, in trouble with who? And
The owner for eating into their profits, but
no,
hey,
they just all had this like somewhere there's like the poor measuring police that were going to come in at any
and shut them right down.
It was really funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really interesting.
How was it price wise? I mean, was it expensive generally speaking?
No,
Was it
we
cheap?
didn't think so. I mean, gas was a lot more expensive than it is here, but the car rental was a hybrid. So I think we spent maybe $120 in gas, and we drove about 1,000 miles over the course of the week. But gas was the equivalent of like $5.25 a gallon US.
Well, it's by the liter.
Yeah, it's by the liter, but when you do the conversions and you switch from pounds to dollars and liters to gallons, it was about $5.25, I think $5.50 a gallon. So that was expensive, but no, we didn't find food I mean, even with the exchange rate, it wasn't outrageous.
Nice.
It's certainly not much. It was certainly not much more expensive than we would pay around here in the Boston area. So now we didn't go out. We only went to like one sort of upscale dinner. We kept most everything to like pubs and
stuff.
Whatnot. Yeah. Oh my God, don't get the burger. Never get the burger.
It's a hockey puck, isn't it?
They still have all the mad cow rules, and they can't serve ground beef pink. Ground beef must be served well done or more. Awful. Just steaks though. Steaks they can serve medium rare, no problem. Ground beef can't be pinks. And we ordered the burger a couple times and we couldn't figure out why they were consistently horrible. And then finally someone told us, because we were someplace, I think we ordered it medium rare, and they're like, oh no, we can't do that, blah, blah, blah. And we're like, oh my God, I wish we'd known that 8 days ago.
Well, and did you look around the restaurant and notice that nobody was ordering burgers?
Yeah, it just never dawned on us why. Yeah, when you go to the UK, don't get the burger. Never get the burger.
No, get the haggis.
Yeah, it's not gluten-free. There's flour in like every haggis. So what I thought was funny was the offerings of vegetarian haggis. They're big on vegetarian.
Was it vegetarian lard that they used?
I don't know. They're huge on they're really good with food allergies. Like everybody has gluten-free sandwich bread, and it's really good quality sandwich bread too. And they're huge on vegetarian and vegan dishes.
Really?
Yeah. I think it's because there's a high Indian population in the UK, and a lot of Indians tend to be vegetarian and or vegan. Certainly the Indian restaurant we went to in town was killer.
Nice. Well, glad it was a good vacation.
It was spectacular. Can't wait to go back.
And Susan, I hope you have an excellent vacation.
Thank you.
Kate,
Thank
welcome
you.
back.
And you too, Em.
Thank you. I don't know about the drive, but I'm looking forward to not sleeping, not in my own bed. And seeing how petrified this dog will be. Could be.
With the driving?
It could be ugly. No, she's just skittish, and she seems to be a little more skittish now that her trainer abandoned her 2 months ago, and her replacement trainer, AKA me, sucks at training. So, oh well. She'll be fine. I'll take drugs. I mean, for her. So, all right. Well, have a great October.
Off to the bank with my
I hope you
notarized.
With your
I
notarized
notarized
check.
and
I
endorsed.
hope they give
check.
you the money.
I hope
Bye,
they let you
guys.
deposit it.
Yeah, they will.
All right. Take care, everyone.
Bye.
All right, safe travel, Susan and Ann.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye.